Thoughts on the Stranger Things finale? I've got some, and they're a little different from the other hot takes and opinions out there. I found a lesson in this show for parents. I'm Amy McCampbell, and this is your Tiny Parenting Minute. Okay, so we've all watched the Stranger Things finale, and if you haven't, don't worry, I will alert you to any spoiler alerts coming your way. Here's what's so crazy. When Stranger Things started, my daughter was 10, and she and her cousin had to watch in the reflection of a window because watching it on the actual TV was too scary for them. Crazy, huh? Now, fast forward 10 years later, and the two of them were both bawling at the end of the series. Why? Well, the show was something that defined their childhoods. And in the end, of course, it was a show about the magic and sometimes scariness, minus demogorgons, I hope, of childhood. Now, because we live in the era of hot takes, there are a ton of people out there dumping on the series finale, disappointed that it wasn't complicated enough or that, spoiler alert, not enough main characters died. Those people, I think, are missing the whole point of the show. Stranger Things wasn't really a show about monsters at all, when you think about it. The finale was a beautiful illustration of what the show has always been about. Kids who stay connected, stay curious, and face impossible things together. And the ending, sure, it wasn't shocking or mind-blowing. It was just bittersweet. It was about making that transition into adulthood. And how do you keep the magic and the friendships and the memories of childhood while forging out into the future? A future where you're going to make new memories, track new paths. And those all actually might be just as scary as stepping into the upside down. This is what the TikTok chorus has missed, but which is what made the ending so much more satisfying for the rest of us. Not just for the kids who grew up watching the show, like my daughter and her cousin, but for their parents and those who grew up in that era. And yes, we really were allowed to just roam around town and do whatever we wanted without any supervision till about dinner time. And no, our parents were not checking in with us at every turn. But here is something important to remember. Most of us had something that we were tethered to, so we weren't just free floating out there. Maybe we had a group of friends that had our back. And though our parents were not infused in every aspect of our lives the way so many of them are today, we knew they were there when it would matter. I think that's why it was so important, and this is a spoiler alert, to have the two central moms, Joyce and Karen Wheeler, play such a critical role at the end. They may have had no idea that their kids were spending all this time trying to save the world, but when those kids needed them, they were right there, ready to fight. This was the kind of connective tissue that we had in that era, of knowing that there were people out there you could count on when things got hard. I think the real monster for kids today is that we are losing the opportunity to build this kind of connection. Their lives are so structured that there's no freedom for them to get out there and test the waters, to learn how to lean on another person, or even to find out who it is they can count on and who they can't. And while their parents are ever present, are they really there when it really matters? I'm going to give you this quick example I saw. One time I was at a coffee shop. There was a 3-year-old with her dad, and she was falling off the cafe stool and she was crying, "Help me." And the dad, who was sitting right next to her, ignored her because he was on his phone. Think about how that kid felt in that moment. That stool was her own demogorgon, and her dad wasn't there to help her. Extreme example, you'd never do that. Perhaps. But we all can think of moments when our kids needed us, and something on our phones or something with work seemed to need us more. So here's my Stranger Things takeaway for parents. Remember that childhood is a magical time to discover who you are and who your people are. Not just your core set of friends though, but who in your community will be there for you. The teachers, the coaches, the parents, the odd former science experiment who shows up in town. Your job is to make sure they have the opportunity to discover these people, to connect, and to give them the space to explore the world without you hovering around them. But you're also letting them know that you're here for them when things get too rough, that they can go off and explore, but that you'll be this secure base that they can always come back to. And that, spoiler alert, you will happily hack off the head of any Vecna that comes into their world. It's a tricky balance, indeed, fostering engagement and independence. But here's one tiny thing you can try today. Give your kids a good 10 minutes of your undivided attention today. No cell phones, just you and them. That's it. That tiny thing is helping them set up that secure base that they will take with them when they are out in their own upside down. Be their joy spires. And if a Vecna shows up, they'll know you'll know what to do.